Hello guys, welcome to Newzee. You are watching the live visuals of the skyline of Tel Aviv as Iran launches drone attack at Israel expected to unfold over hours. Iran launched dozens of drones at Israel on Saturday, but they will take hours to reach their target, Israel's military said, an attack that may trigger a major escalation between the regional archenemies with US pledging to back Israel. US President Joe Biden also returned back to White House for the updates. Here is the live visuals of the Haifa skyline. Tel Aviv is lit in the lights. Iran's Revolutionary Guards said on Saturday it had launched dozens of drones and missiles against specific targets in Israel. Iranian state media quoted a statement by the elite forces as saying, Biden is updated on Iran's attack against Israel, National Security Council spokesperson said. Iran has begun an airborne attack against Israel. President Biden is being regularly updated on the situation by his national security team and will meet with the team this afternoon at the White House. His team is in constant communication with Israeli officials as well as other partners and allies. This attack is likely to unfold over a number of hours. President Biden has been clear. Our support for Israel's security is ironclad. The United States will stand with the people of Israel and support their defense against these threats from Iran. Is- Israeli PM Netanyahu says Israel is prepared for every scenario as Iran launches drone salvo. Let's hear what he says.
אזרחי ישראל, בשנים האחרונות, וביתר שאת בשבועות האחרונים, ישראל נערכת לאפשרות של תקיפה ישירה מאיראן. מערכות ההגנה שלנו פרוסות. אנחנו ערוכים לכל תרחיש, הן בהגנה והן בהתקפה. מדינת ישראל חזקה, צה"ל חזק, הציבור חזק. אנחנו מעריכים את ההתייצבות של ארצות הברית לצידה של ישראל, וכן את התמיכה של בריטניה, צרפת ומדינות רבות אחרות. קבעתי עיקרון ברור. מי שפוגע בנו, אנחנו פוגעים בו. אנחנו נגן על עצמנו מול כל איום, ונעשה זאת בקור רוח ובנחישות. אני יודע שגם אתם, אזרחי ישראל, שומרים על קור רוח. אני קורא לכם לשמוע להנחיות פיקוד העורף. יחד נעמוד, ובעזרת השם, יחד נתגבר על כל אויבינו.
Syria puts on high alert its Russian-made Pantsir ground-to-air defense systems around capital and major bases, army sources say. Israeli Airlines has cancelled 15 flights scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, the carrier said on Saturday as hostilities with Iran surged and Israel closed its airspace as a precaution. Foreign destinations affected include Paris, Rome, Barcelona, Milan, Bucharest, Sofia, Athens, Dubai, and Moscow. Iran's Revolutionary Guards say Operation True Promise is part of punishment for Israeli crimes. Iran said it launched dozens of strikes drones at Israel on Saturday in an assault that could trigger a major escalation between the regional archenemies. Iran had vowed to retaliate against Israel for an airstrike on its embassy compound in Syria, adding to concerns about the potential for further escalation of conflict in the Middle East. Iran has so far played no direct role in the conflict that has spread through the region since the onset of the Gaza war 6 months ago, while backing groups that have taken part by attacking Israel, US interests, and Red Sea shipping. Built up over years or decades of Iranian support, the groups describe themselves as the axis of resistance to Israel and US influence in the Middle East. The axes include not only Hamas, the Palestinian group that ignited the war by attacking Israel on October 7, but also the Hezbollah movement in Lebanon, the Houthi movement in Yemen, various Shia armed groups in Iraq and Syria. Now, let's talk about Lebanon's Hezbollah. Hezbollah means Party of God was set up by Iran's Revolutionary Guards in 1982 with the aim of fighting Israeli forces that had invaded Lebanon that year. The heavily armed group, also an influential political player, shares Iran's Shia Islamist ideology and is widely regarded as more powerful than the Lebanese state. Here are the visuals of Israel's Haifa. You are seeing these lives. Hezbollah has served as a model for other Iranian-backed groups across the region, some of which it has advised or trained. The United States and other governments including US allied Gulf Arab countries list Hezbollah as a terrorist organization. The group has been mounting near daily attacks on Israeli targets at the Lebanese-Israeli border since early October, prompting the heaviest exchanges of fire between the enemies since a full-scale war in 2006. Hezbollah says its attacks have helped to stretch the Israeli army while also uprooting tens of thousands of Israelis who have fled homes near the border. Israeli air and artillery strikes have forced tens of thousands of Lebanese to flee. Israeli security sources say Israel has killed some 240 Hezbollah fighters, including top commanders in Lebanon, since October 7, in addition to a further 30 killed in Israeli strikes in Syria. Overall, this equals Hezbollah's losses in the 2006 war. A US envoy has been engaged in efforts to prevent the violence from spiraling into an even bigger conflict. Israeli TV said Iran launched some 100 drones and cruise missiles. Some have been shot down over Syria or Jordan. And we are back to Tel Aviv. Let's hear what Israeli PM said.
אזרחי ישראל, בשנים האחרונות, וביתר שאת בשבועות האחרונים, ישראל נערכת לאפשרות של תקיפה ישירה מאיראן. מערכות ההגנה שלנו פרוסות. אנחנו ערוכים לכל תרחיש, הן בהגנה והן בהתקפה. מדינת ישראל חזקה, צה"ל חזק, הציבור חזק. אנחנו מעריכים את ההתייצבות של ארצות הברית לצידה של ישראל, וכן את התמיכה של בריטניה, צרפת ומדינות רבות אחרות. קבעתי עיקרון ברור. מי שפוגע בנו, אנחנו פוגעים בו. אנחנו נגן על עצמנו מול כל איום, ונעשה זאת בקור רוח ובנחישות. אני יודע שגם אתם, אזרחי ישראל, שומרים על קור רוח. אני קורא לכם לשמוע להנחיות פיקוד העורף. יחד נעמוד, ובעזרת השם, יחד נתגבר על כל אויבינו. אזרחי ישראל, בשנים האחרונות, וביתר שאת בשבועות האחרונים, ישראל נערכת לאפשרות של תקיפה ישירה מאיראן. מערכות ההגנה שלנו פרוסות. אנחנו ערוכים לכל תרחיש, הן בהגנה והן בהתקפה. מדינת ישראל חזקה, צה"ל חזק, הציבור חזק. אנחנו מעריכים את ההתייצבות של ארצות הברית לצידה של ישראל, וכן את התמיכה של בריטניה, צרפת ומדינות רבות אחרות. קבעתי עיקרון ברור. מי שפוגע בנו, אנחנו פוגעים בו. אנחנו נגן על עצמנו מול כל איום, ונעשה זאת בקור רוח ובנחישות. אני יודע שגם אתם, אזרחי ישראל, שומרים על קור רוח. אני קורא לכם לשמוע להנחיות פיקוד העורף. יחד נעמוד, ובעזרת השם, יחד נתגבר על כל אויבינו.
Now let's talk about Yemen's Houthis. The Houthi movement established control over large parts of Yemen during a civil war. The Houthi movement established control over large parts of Yemen during a civil war that began in 2014 when it seized Sana'a and overthrew the government, which was backed by Saudi Arabia, the region's leading Sunni Muslim power and Iran's main rival for regional influence. The Houthis belong to the Zaydi sect of Shia Islam and have long had friendly ties to Iran. The Yemen war pitched them into conflict with Saudi Arabia and its Gulf allies, who, wary of Iran's broadening sway, intervened in the war in 2015. In 2015, in support of the ousted government, Saudi Arabia has in recent years backed diplomatic efforts to end the war, last September hosting Houthi negotiators in Riyadh. The Houthi announced on October 31 they had entered the conflict by firing drones and missiles towards Israel. In November, they expanded their role by attacking shipping in the southern Red Sea, saying they were aiming at vessels belonging to Israelis or heading to Israeli ports. Though some of the targeted ships had no known Israeli links, the campaign prompted the United States and Britain in January to launch airstrikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. The Houthi declared all US and Britain ships and warships taking part in the aggression would be targeted for its strikes. The attacks have disrupted international commerce on the shortest shipping route between Europe and Asia, leading some of shipping companies to reroute their vessels. The United States believes Iran's Revolutionary Guards have been helping to plan and carry out the Houthi missile and drone attacks. Iran denies involvement. In January, commanders from the IRGC and Hezbollah are on the group in Yemen helping to direct and oversee Houthi attacks on Red Sea shipping. The Houthi denied any Hezbollah or Iranian involvement. The United States returned the Houthi to its list of designated terrorist groups in response to the shipping attacks. The Saudi-led coalition fighting the Houthi have long accused Iran of arming, training, and funding the group. The Houthi deny being an Iranian proxy. Hey guys, here comes the latest news. Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu convened the Israeli war cabinet at a military headquarters in Tel Aviv. His office said